Hi, I'm Jesse Fulton, Marketing Manager with Index Fund Advisors. A recent survey that was conducted by Bankrate found that 68% of parents, or roughly 2 out of 3 parents, sacrifice their own financial priorities to help their kids, with about 31% of those 68% stating that it came at a significant financial sacrifice. I have here with me today IFA's own Kirk Ito, who is our financial planning analyst, to discuss the question of how to help your kids without sacrificing your retirement.
Perfect. So that is a big stat. I actually didn't realize that it was 2/3 of the adult population. But helping adult children with certain goals, it just kind of comes naturally, right? It's your adult child needs help with a down payment, especially in today's housing market. Then what do, right? And so the first thing that we want to make sure of is that your own financial future is secured. And that includes retirement, potential for long-term care events, and all the goals that you have set, right? So that is and always should be the first priority, because otherwise, what's going to happen? At the end of the line, you need help, and now you're a burden on your children, right? So you've sacrificed your financial future to help them out, and then you've put a burden on them on the back end, right? That nobody saw coming.
Correct.
So that's the first step, and we need to plan for those things, which is why a financial plan is important to project out all of these different costs and expected rates of return to figure out, am I going to be okay, regardless of what I do? Now, having said that, recently I've had a bunch of clients that are in that position. They're fortunate enough to have saved well enough. They've got their spending under control. They're definitely living within their means, so much so that I have to have the conversation of, well, what are you going to do with the money? Do you want to, the fact is that you can't take it with you, right? And so that conversation is a very different thing, and there are a number of different ways that maybe the money is better spent now than it would be later. And I guess that kind of would be the next stage of the conversation.
So from a tactical point of view, where should people start out? Should they start out, helping their children with buying a home, getting a mortgage?
That's a good question, and everybody's different, right? And like buying a home is especially tough in today's market, and just everything around that. It's just kind of steers the conversation towards giving to children now, right? Adult children, just making sure that they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because that's at the end of the day, that's what we want to happen. But again, we've got to go back to the first step to make sure that you can afford it, right? So, what type of gift are we planning to move out of our control, our investment portfolio in this situation, to help our children? If it's a 20% down payment on a $1 million property, that's $200,000 that's now out of your retirement planning, out of your investment portfolio that was originally designated to support you after you stop working, right? And so if you can afford to do that, then fantastic. You can take advantage of not only the annual gifting limits and to avoid gift tax, right? But we have lifetime exemptions available. In 2024, I think for an individual, you have up to 13.6, somewhere around there, $13.6 million of annual of lifetime gift exemption. Mm-hmm. For a married couple, that puts it up to 27.22, something like that. And so, and you'll have to check with your tax advisor, of course, to make sure that we're on those numbers, especially if we're outside of this year. But if you do take advantage of those gifting limits, then that would be a good place to start, I guess.
And these gifting limits, they change year to year, correct?
Correct, yeah. And so, 27.2 versus when I started, is a very different conversation, right? And so from estate tax planning, from a gifting strategy, knowing that that's available or making use of those limits can be important, especially when we're talking about a home down payment.
So let's stay there with the tax side of things, as far as setting up trusts or tax shelters with this gifting of money. What are some good ways that people can do this?
So trusts are fantastic in a lot of ways, but they're not for everybody. But absolutely, talk to your estate attorney to make sure that a trust is the right strategy for you. We can place things into a trust and keep in mind that anytime we're gifting or we're putting things into, for example, an irrevocable trust, we lose control of that asset to some degree, right? And so that would be one of the considerations to take into account when we're making that decision. So.
Okay. So IFA uses a few different software platforms. Do you want to go into a little bit more detail about eMoney or Right Capital?
Absolutely. So from a financial planning standpoint, we use two different platforms, eMoney and Right Capital. Both are great at planning out. In this situation, it would be planning out different goals, right? What are those things that we want to fund, not just now, but in the future, right? If it's helping with a down payment, if it's paying for grandchildren's college tuition, something like that. Which, by the way, there's an advantage there as well. If you pay directly to the college, again, that's outside of gifting limits. So, but anyways, a couple of different platforms. Both are very good at projecting out all of those moving parts. And that's where they excel, is what type of income is coming into the household, what's going out, how is taxation going to be factored in, and then using a lot of assumptions, right? We can do straight line projections, we can do Monte Carlo simulations to give a range of results, and each of those is going to be a little bit different, but it gets us to the general idea of how that retirement looks, what the portfolio health looks like way down the line.
So this is all part of putting together a holistic financial plan.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. And if anybody would like to schedule an appointment with Kirk, feel free to reach out to your advisor, and they can set up a time where you can meet with Kirk and go over setting up a holistic financial plan for you and yourself.
Absolutely. Talk to your wealth advisor.